The SNES era of Final Fantasy was an era of the series that I really enjoyed, with both 4 and 6 being some of my favorite games in the series to this day. Final Fantasy V doesn't quite hold the same place in my heart, probably due to the fact that it was never released in the United States until 1999 as part of the Final Fantasy Anthology collection, and I didn't personally beat it until last year with the Pixel Remastered version. Another thing that holds Final Fantasy V back for me is that the story just didn't quite captivate me nearly as much as the story of 4 or 6. Maybe that's just due to the fact that I didn't play it growing up, but honestly, even playing it recently and comparing it to the entries next to it, 5 just felt a little lighter on the story and even a bit goofy at times to me. Even so, Final Fantasy V still has a number of memorable story moments throughout the game. I want to take a look at 5 of my favorite moments in the game and why I enjoyed them so much. As always with a video like this, expect spoilers, so if you haven't played Final Fantasy V yet, consider yourself warned before moving forward. At number 5, I have Party at the Ronka Ruins. From the start of the game, your party has been trying to save the crystals from destruction, but really haven't had very good luck at doing that, as they always just wind up being there just in time to see the crystal get destroyed by somebody. And this continues at the Ronka Ruins with what you believe to be the final crystal, the Crystal of Earth. For a while now, you've been following the King of Tycoon, who is acting rather strangely and has been missing since early in the game. You follow him and defeat Archeoavis, the dungeon's boss. What the party fails to realize is that King Tycoon is possessed, and they just defeated the guardian of the Earth Crystal. While in the crystal room, King Tycoon attacks you when another person decides to crash the party, quite literally, with a meteor. This mystery girl in the meteor winds up freeing King Tycoon from his possession with a lightning bolt to the head and saves the party. She also reveals herself as Galuf's unfortunately named granddaughter Krill or Kryl, or however it's pronounced. I'm not really sure, and I don't really love any of the pronunciations to make it sound like a nice name. However, her presence here helps restore Galuf's memories, as he's been struggling with amnesia since the beginning of the game. The Earth Crystal is still destroyed, which frees Exdeath from his seal, and he attacks the party with the crystal shards. King Tycoon winds up taking these attacks and somehow freeing the crystal shards from Exdeath's control. Unfortunately, this is all done at the cost of his life, and what should have been a happy reunion of Lena and Ferris with their father winds up being a sad goodbye. While the party is pretty stupid not to realize what was behind King Tycoon's strange behavior, I still found this to be a very meaningful moment in the game for a number of reasons. First, we are finally able to meet the main threat of the game, Exdeath. While he's been possessing people to destroy his seals for a good portion of the game, this is the first time that we really get more of an interaction with him. It also won't be the last, as he's one of those villains who likes a good monologue and cackle right in front of the party, but then fails to finish them off when given the chance. Second, we are introduced to Krill, and Galuf regains his memories, which allows for us to learn more about the threat of Exdeath. It also reveals that there is a parallel world that Galuf and Krill are originally from, which gives you an idea of where the game is going to take you next. Lastly is the touching scene of King Tycoon sacrificing his life for you and having to say goodbye to his 2 daughters, one of which he hadn't seen since she was a very little girl and lost at sea. Final Fantasy V has a lot of sacrifices in it, and this won't be the only one you see on the list. While it does a better job than Final Fantasy IV of having those who sacrifice their lives actually die, that doesn't mean they don't still help the party later on, but I'll mention that later. Overall, this was just a moment that had triumph, sorrow, and expanded the story quite a bit. This makes it a memorable moment in the game for me, but just not quite as emotional and enjoyable as some of the other moments that are on this list. Fourth moment is Tower of Water Rescue. This moment takes place a bit earlier than the previous one after the party fails to protect the water crystal in Walt's tower. With the destruction of the crystal, the tower starts to sink in the water, and the party finds themselves in danger as they sink with the tower and find themselves in open water. Luckily for them, Ferris's sea dragon Sildra rescues the party. This moment turns into a roller coaster of emotion. You've thought that Sildra was dead after she was sucked into a whirlpool in the Torna Canal. So at first you are celebrating that Ferris's trusty sea dragon friend is still alive. This celebration is short-lived though, as you realize after Sildra rescues you that she used the last of her energy to save the party and is dying. It makes for a sad and touching moment as the ally that you thought was okay has again put her life on the line to save your party. Hearing the mournful wail of Sildra in the black screen after the tearful goodbye between Ferris and Sildra is just a masterful touch of sadness added to this emotional moment. You also can gain Sildra as a summon later in the game from her spirit, because as I said, those who sacrifice their lives may stay dead, but they still find ways to help the party even after that. Third moment is Back from the Void. About 3/4 of the way through the game, you face off against Exdeath in his castle, and you believe that you defeat him. After his defeat, the crystals in his possession are destroyed and your party is knocked out. When the party regains consciousness, you are back near Castle Tycoon. This results in a party for the return of the two princesses, Lena and Ferris. Curious about why you're back in the original world, Bartz and Krill try to see what they can figure out. Ferris winds up catching up with them and joining them on their journey, as she's not too cut out for being a princess. What they find is that the two worlds have somehow merged into one. It turns out that Exdeath has survived your last counter as well, and that this has all been part of his plan so that he can access the power of the Void. After revealing this plan, he uses this power to destroy Castle Tycoon and Lena with it. After a quest to the Pyramid of Moor, you realize that Lena has survived thanks to her Windrake Hiryu. Unfortunately, Lena has also been possessed by a demon in the process. Hiryu comes to the rescue again and sacrifices his life to drive the demon out of Lena's body so that the party can attack it and remove the threat for good. This is just another event that sets you up thinking this is going to be a moment of celebration and turns it into a bittersweet one. You are happy to see that Lena survived the Void attack on Castle Tycoon, but as you find out that she is possessed and how Hiryu sacrifices himself for Lena and the party, it winds up being another sad moment in a game that is full of sacrifices. And that's not the last you find of Hiryu though. He is at the top of Phoenix Tower and becomes the summoned Phoenix to lend strength to the party once again. It's also a bit unclear to me when Hiryu dies. The game says he sacrifices himself when getting the demon out of Lena, but the interaction on the top of Phoenix Tower makes it seem like he only dies after jumping off the tower to become the summon. Either way, this moment is still a touching one, and as Hiryu has been involved for a good portion of the game, with you even having a quest involving healing him at one point, it had an even greater impact than the sacrifice of Sildra for me. At number 2, I have a rescue mission. This is the only moment on the list that doesn't involve the death of some character. After Galuf regains his memories, he and Krill return to their world to face off against the unsealed Exdeath. The rest of the party is left behind in their world, but after finding a way to get to Galuf's world, they wind up following him. The only problem with this is that they wind up stranded on an island and then captured by Exdeath's forces. Due to the party's capture, Exdeath is able to use them as hostages to stop Galuf from attacking his castle with the forces that he has mobilized. Exdeath threatens to kill his friends unless he tells his forces to back down. While Galuf does tell his forces to temporarily withdraw, Galuf takes matters into his own hands. Using Krill's Windrake, he infiltrates Castle Exdeath, defeats Gilgamesh, and frees Bartz, Lena, and Ferris. You can't help but root for Galuf as he takes flight and enters Castle Exdeath on his own to rescue his friends. Shows he's willing to go to some pretty extreme lengths to protect those he cares about. Even better is that there really isn't any negative side to this moment. The worst thing is that the party isn't fully able to escape across the big bridge before the barrier around Castle Exdeath activates. This winds up propelling the party quite far away and requires you to go on a bit of a detour for a bit to kind of get back to where you need to be. And my top moment from Final Fantasy V is Loss in the Guardian Tree. Well, in the previous event, we got a taste of just how far Galuf was willing to go to help his friends. This moment takes it to a whole new level. Here, the party is heading to the Great Forest of Moor in Galuf's world to stop Exdeath from destroying the crystals there. Unfortunately, Exdeath tricks the party into destroying the seals on the crystals themselves. Once this is done, Exdeath uses the power of the crystals on the party. While Krill realizes this is going on after being tipped off by a Moogle and comes to help, this only results in her being incapacitated as well. Seeing his granddaughter in danger allows for Galuf to overcome the power of the crystal and goes toe-to-toe with Exdeath in an epic 1v1. Galuf just takes all of Exdeath's strongest attacks and doesn't go down even though he has 0 HP at this time. It's a great battle, but as you might expect after this exchange, it turns to tragedy. While Galuf is able to free his granddaughter and friends, it is at the cost of his own life. No amount of healing spells or items from his friends do any good, as he gave everything he had in his battle against Exdeath. Like many of the other sacrifices on the list, Galuf's influence continues on in the game. The most significant of these is that Krill winds up gaining all of Galuf's skills and abilities after his death. However, both Galuf, King Tycoon, and the other Dawn Warriors all reappear in spirit to help the party deal with the Void so that they can focus on taking out Exdeath. They're also instrumental in getting the party out of the Void once they defeat Exdeath once and for all. The drive that Galuf shows to save his friends and family here is just inspiring. He goes way past his physical limits to take on the final boss in an epic fashion. While it ends in his death, his noble sacrifice allows the Light Warriors to continue on to defeat Exdeath in the end. It's a moment of great triumph and sorrow all rolled into one, which is like so many moments from this game. And those are my favorite moments from Final Fantasy V. While Final Fantasy V may not be numbered among my favorites in the series, it is still a game that had some great moments. Most of them were pretty sad though, and dealt with the sacrifice of others to help your party continue on your journey to save the world. How about you? What are some of your favorite moments moments from the game. Are there any that you'd place on the list that I didn't? I know I had a few moments that didn't quite make the list. Are there moments that you agreed with being on the list? Let me know in the comments, as it's always nice to see what moments other people enjoy and how they would put them in order. But that's all for this video though. I'll see you in the next one.